Good morning. I'd like to call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Fairfield? Present. Mr. Hess? Present. Ms. Polk?
Present.
Ms. Weber?
Present.
Ms. Parker?
Present.
Mr. Seroy? Mr. Swanson?
Present.
Mr. Featherling?
Present.
Mr. Dunnell?
Present.
Mr. Miller? Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Hunter? Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Present.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. I have not received any slips for public comment. Any public comment in the back? Seeing none. Next, approval of minutes from May 24th, 2023. Can I have a motion by Mr. Dunnell, second by Mr. Long? Any additions or corrections? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No presentations. Next is the bid opening for animal control. Could I have a motion to open the bids? Mr. Featherling, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, we can open the bids.
Okay, first bid is from Pegasus Seminole Inc., PSI, for general trades. Base bid amount $1,041,041. Sure.
General trades.
General trades, correct.
And the first bid is by
Pegasus Seminole Inc., PSI. Base bid amount $1,041,059.00.
1 million what?
$1,041,059.41.
0 cents.
0 cents. Sorry.
Next bid is DBM Services, again, general trades. Base bid amount $977,000, $0.00. 977,000. Next bid, general trades, RB Construction Inc. Base bid amount $790,000. 790,000. Next bid is for fencing. Bid by Action Fence Contractors, Inc. Base bid amount $71,400. $71,400. And the final bid for today is Allied Landscaping for the landscaping package. So Allied Landscaping Corporation.
From Tuesday?
Pardon me?
Fencing, no bid
Mr. Hunter.
from Tuesday?
No.
Okay.
Okay, fencing, or I'm sorry, landscaping, Allied Landscaping Corporation, base bid amount, $46,285. $46,285.
Chairman Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The nature of the way the motion should be made, and I'll let somebody else make it, would be is to accept the lowest responsible bidder. And then also using that amount of money, amend the funding resolution accordingly, which is, I have it here, hold on just a moment. 2023-04-11-113. It was currently at $1.5 million. And so what we're asking is that we are roughly, after the bidding process, we saw some savings here, by the way, by going through this again and moving some things around. But the amending of that would be for another flat $2 million of the ARPA funds. That's what we've identified. That is the cost overrun in labor and in materials versus the initial estimates. Now, we're targeting ARPA funds because that is non-local taxpayer property taxes being used for that. And my polling of board members was that was the way that they would potentially want to go forward. Obviously, it's this committee's purview to say it's too much. We don't want to do the animal control project now. We understand that could be one answer. It could be let's not do anything and sit on it for 4 to 5 years and wait for prices to go down. All professional opinions are that's not going to happen. This is the new normal with labor rates and material costs. And so the other option would be to use general fund money, which is local property taxes, or ARPA funds, which are dollars that are sent to Washington and never have come back here. So that was really, if you make the motion, that we're moving forward. I just want to make sure that all options are on the table. Some of them I don't agree with. I don't think they're viable options, but that's up to the committee. So that's kind of where we're at.
Thank you. My comment is that let's use the ARPA funds because, like Chairman Wheeler said, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it's not going to go ahead and hit our local taxpayers. And on top of that, we did not go ahead and raise the bond for animal control, so that stayed the same with the fees. Mr. Fairfield.
I'd like to make that motion that we use the ARPA funds.
With the lowest responsible bidder.
Yeah.
And amend the resolution 2023-411-113.
Yes.
That's the motion. Second by Mr. Long. Any discussion? Ms. Weber.
Thank you. Could we repeat that number that the 1,000,005 changed to?
It would add 2 million to it.
Oh, just would
So
be
3.5 mil.
3.5.
And that should give us some extra room to cover off any ancillary cost contingency, if you will. A good example would be the original bid amounts that we got in for general trades were about, what, $400,000 more than what we're looking at right now. So it should be lower. It shouldn't be 2 million, but we're leaving it in there just in case there's some fluctuations on pricing and you start getting into a wall and you realize, oh geez, termites are all, I'm just saying, you never know what you're getting.
Especially when you open an old building up.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Dennell? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. Chairman Wheeler.
I just want to mention, we don't expect any large fluctuations going up. Maybe the lead time on a rooftop air conditioning unit is 6 months more than we thought it was gonna be when we put all this together. But we see this coming down. I just don't want any, we're trying to account for every contingency, but there's already contingency in the project. We just didn't want to have to come back here in a rush and in a hurry and say, oh geez, now we need this, and we have to go through a month's worth of gyrations.
Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I'd just like to applaud Chairman Wheeler and the committee for their wisdom for rebidding these areas, and you can see the savings that we accrued as a consequence of that.
Ms. Weber.
Thank you. Could you map out what happens next? Do we wait for the full board for approval of this and then the construction can begin?
Chairman Wheeler.
Yes, full board must approve, so we'll send it that direction. I was talking with Jason, could dirt start moving? That depends on the permitting process with Bourbonnais, and that seems like it's going fine. So we're still hopeful that we can get some things done before the snow flies. But we do have to approve it at full board. This is a good indication of what the intent of the full board will be, though.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next up is the Finance Department, Mr. McCarty. You can look over all the miscellaneous and financial reports if you have any questions. Steve can answer them. Good morning, Steve.
Morning. Nick told me to get on with it.
There will not be a motion
Mine's
to
paid,
amend the
Nick, so
agenda,
just
so.
relax, just relax. Good morning. First up are the taxes, normal receipts. Sales tax continues to not show any signs of change overall.
Bed rental is amazing.
Yeah, bed rentals flying. Income tax, it was positive this last month, so we're just keeping an eye on that. Use tax is pretty consistent. And even though the PPRT has gone down, it's actually not gone down as much as we anticipated, so we'll continue to watch the rest of the year with that. Just a few highlights. I don't know if there's any specific questions after
Any questions?
reviewed it or not.
All right, cash flow
A lot
update.
of time on that. Cash flow continues to look good. No complaints on this end. Just have it updated through August. So everything looks really good there. I'm going to begin the process of the calling the 2009, the first half, the remaining half of the 2009 bonds. So we should have some information as far as legal information and votable action here soon. But there's no issues going forward. He said we'd keep an eye on it. Something changed, we'd talk about it, but there's a green light to continue to do that process as we discussed. So everything looks good there.
Chairman Wheeler.
Thank you, Steve, for the the acronym and lingo challenged, if you will. What does calling a bond early mean?
Paying it off early.
Okay, thank you. I needed need a word on the street language. I appreciate that. So we're following through on what we said we were going to do.
Yeah.
And 2009 series is what the jail?
No, that was for the
Court system? Okay.
Court system.
Yep.
The original, what we're replacing. We are, my understanding, we're going to skip over the claims, recommended, not recommended portion until last. Monthly claims, I don't have anything specific, but I have my report if anybody has any questions there.
Any questions on the monthly claims report? Seeing none, can I have a motion? You have a question, Ms. Weber?
I just want to comment that the ARPA checks are there, so there was a question about are they being paid, and they're part of that, of your claims report, so we can see who gets what
Yes.
by your billing.
Good catch, Ms. Weber. Can I have a motion to approve the monthly claims? Motion by Mr. Swanson, second by Ms. Parker. Any other discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk? Ms. Polk? Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye. Can't you hear me?
I can now, thank you. Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Dennell? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Next up is ARPA lost revenue adjustment.
Yeah, you have a sheet for our third allowable adjustment from the ARPA funds over to lost revenue, what was referred to as lost revenue. The lost revenue projects really give the board more latitude, not only for board-related things, but it can be used for anything. So it doesn't eliminate what we're charging, you know, what we've done, like the social services programs, for example, to direct ARPA, those could be done under lost revenue as well. So by doing this adjustment, we're not eliminating anything. It just gives the board more latitude for what it can be replaced. So we're allowed up to 4 adjustments. We're using our fiscal year-end audit report each year. So this is from FY22. So the dollar amount will be $1,928,289. As far as the next adjustment we're allowed to do, but it needs board approval and board action. Any questions?
Mr. Hunter? No? Any comments or questions from the committee? Can I have a motion to Ms. Weber?
I'll move that we accept it.
Accept it. Motion, second by Mr. Dunnell. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is Moody's credit rating discussion.
So good news, we're back in the A category. Hard fought. Bunch of A's, yes. So I gave you the rating scale just for reference, but if those of you who have read it or have it on page 5 of the actual Moody's report, there's a scorecard. I just thought it's quite interesting to look at the scorecard. The scorecard indicated outcome shows us as a capital A, small a2, but our assigned rating is an A3. So if you look on the scale, I just wanted to point that out. So, and in comparison, I brought a little gift that I got when we did the Series 2005 A and B back in 2005, and it identified it as investment rating. Our investment rating was at the top, the AAA, and the underlying rating was A3. So we're the same on the underlying rating as we were in 2005, but slightly different on the other. So that things have changed in how they rate and score since then, but just for comparison and a little analytical, if you will, you know, comparison of where we were back when we did the original bonds for the jail in 2005. So all great news, and you know, the outcome, the outlook changes now that our debt is as low as it is, but there was indication and communication that that we potentially will go up again, you know, at the next rating. So so all good news. I just wanted to share, you know, the specifics with you and make sure you had a copy of it and answer any questions.
Any comments from the committee? I think it's a fantastic news here. So, Mr. Featherling.
Steve, what don't you worry about at night now that you used to? No, I mean, you used to, you know, I know, I was here, you know, things.
Well, there's always something to do, but yeah, we've got a lot of things going, but no, the same worry is no longer there for sure, but yeah, that always gets replaced with new ones, but nothing at the same level.
Not
for
the
sure.
same level. Well, thank you for your hard work.
Anything else from the committee? If not, can I have a motion to enter executive session per pending litigation? Motion by Mr. Featherling, second by Mr. Fairfield. Roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Dennell? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
We're back from executive session. Next up is claims for approval, or recommended and not recommended for approval.
All right, I need to clarify the handout that I passed out this morning for credit card expenses. There were 4 of them. The two of them we're going to deal with today, and 2 are going to go to the full board per the request of the sheriff. So we're going to look at the First American FAB Card 106 Kevin Duvall claim for $8,013.17, and also the FAB 106 credit card Rowe, which is Jim Rowe's credit card, $23,053.19. And then on your screen in your packet originally there was for a claim for Andrew Wheeler, County Board Chairman, for $49.85. So those are the 3 that we'll take up here this morning.
And what was his comments on? Because I'm having a hard time with his handwriting, like Mr. Featherling usually does with Mr. Rowe's claim.
Mr. Rose.
Yeah.
Need copies of grant award and allowable expenditures before we can, I don't know, provide recommendation.
Okay.
Provide, I think. It's hard to read.
Be nice if somebody would show up to meetings. Okay, so motion to approve those claims. Motion by Mr. Dunnell, second by Mr. Swanson. Any other discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Next up.
All right, that was ARPA funding is next. So the ARPA law.
Chairman Wheeler.
We have the other claims for Griffin, Williams, McMahon, and Walsh.
Yep.
We have to go through before ARPA.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have a copy of that one.
Would you like me to take that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this claim was under consideration by us, the administration department, for a recommendation to not approve. I'll explain briefly. While I won't get into details of the lawsuit, the auditor has filed suit against the county board, its members, and me personally. It's been going on quite a while through promotions to judge and appellate judge. We've had a change in the crew, if you will. So things have drug on the past 6 months or so. But we need to revisit this situation because the legal fees bills come in. And there is an item on here, the process, let me explain. The judge hearing the case signs off on these, and primarily what they do is they sign off on the bills to make sure we're not getting charged $1,000 an hour. It's basically a watchdog for the taxpayers to make sure we're not getting bilked when one office in a government sues another office in a government. So we both have appointed, we both have lawyers that we're paying for actually now. They were appointed to start with. So in this case, there are 2 items on the bill from Griffin, Williams, McMahon, and Walsh, received June 26th, that were inappropriately, I think, signed off on by the auditor. He signed off on his own claim, so I don't think you can audit your own work in that aspect. But regardless, the bigger problem is there are 2 discussions on here that we believe are relating to a personal matter for Mr. Lee. Under an investigation the state is under, him personally and not his office. And so this has been submitted for payment by the taxpayers when this payment should be, we feel, borne by Mr. Lee, because it's a result of an investigation of the state of him personally, not of this situation with the lawsuit. I hope I said that without going too far. I'm trying, I'm not a lawyer. So we recommend, as to not upset the process, to pay this under protest, and the motion would also include engaging and petitioning our state's attorney's office to reach out to this judge to solicit restitution for the taxpayers of Kankakee County who are being tasked, we believe, of paying for a personal legal bill for Mr. Lee. So that, if you agree that would need to be in the motion, then our state's attorney's office, because our taxpayers are the injured people in this situation. I hope I said that clearly, and I'll try to explain what I can.
Motion by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Dunnell. Any discussion? Questions? If not, roll call.
Ms. Dracka?
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Mr. Wheeler?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Next up, ARPA funding request, lost revenue, Kankakee County Highway Department.
Yeah, this request is to not exceed 14,000. It would be out of lost revenue, and it is for our portion of funding of what's going on at Armor Road, Arthur Birch Drive, Illinois Route 50. It is for, what's the term here? There's a picture of the emergency vehicle preemptive state, that signal the lights, that pick up the sirens and the lights that turn them for first responders. So
Yeah.
Chairman Wheeler.
I can explain. There'll be a test, Steve, after this. It's technology behind this. It's the Opticons that sit up on top of the poles that sense emergency vehicles. So since we're the entity on that's redoing Armor Road and that whole corner, replacing the light poles, they need new Opticons. So we are paying for those out of ARPA funds. Typically, that would be borne by the business. But since the state is picking up paying for the light poles, we said we'll pick up the Opticons for the emergency responders.
Anything else from the committee? Can I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Fairfield. Roll call.
Ms. Drackoff?
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
all right, the next ARPA request is to amend resolution 2023-03-14-78. This is for NAACP New Vision Food Pantry resolution under the social services. It's my understanding that, and there's a estimate from Lowe's for a stand-up freezer for $878 before tax. There's a request for that, and then the remaining amount, my understanding, as far as will go towards the food. So the total approved was $51,600, and then the total for the total for the freezer $878, and the difference will be split in between 2 years, this year, next year, for food only for the New Vision Food Pantry. Did I repeat that correctly, Mr.
Yep.
Chairman, as far as the committee and what was discussed?
Mr. Hunter?
Yeah, thank you very much. And Steve, thanks for the explanation. This has been thoroughly discussed with the evaluation team as well too. Reverend Ivy has been, that information has been provided to him, and I move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Hunter, second by Ms. Weber.
Polk.
Ms. Polk, we'll give you the second. Chairman Wheeler.
And just so it's clear, this is so we can prepay for the freezer, because that's a separate thing, you know, so he can go out and we can, you know, help them out with the money for to go get the freezer, and then also prepay the first year when the, you know, divide that in half, and the next year prepay that as well. They're subject to auditing standards. They'll have to show bills that they're only buying food. So I just want the committee to know, but they're not the type of organization that has a big cash reserve. And so that was another reason we had to come back is because everything was on reimbursement before. Here, the audit trail will dictate, you know, the next year's funding. It's probably the best way to example. If things go sideways, we do have time to react, which I don't expect that.
Thank you. We have motions. Any other discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Dennell? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Anything else, Steve?
Yeah, can I ask the committee, the other part that was asked is, is it okay to move now from finance in this change, or do you want us to wait till the full board? There is an approved resolution, we're amending it. You know, they've been discussing, I've had visitors a few times here, you know, the need, so I'm asking what the I believe at this point we could, but I also want the finance committee or board, you know what I mean, to approve that, or we'll have to wait for the full board a few more weeks before we can cut this check.
Mr. Hunter?
Yeah, let's go ahead and cut it.
So
Cut it?
committee okay with that?
Yeah. Chairman Wheeler?
Yes.
I always like to get the advice of our legal counsel on things like this. Would they see
Sure.
any issues with that whatsoever?
We'll check with them as well.
Typically, it should go to the full board.
Kind of what I thought.
Didn't we already authorize this via resolution?
But it was under reimbursement, the original, and now we're changing, that, so just trying to get everybody's input on this from what I was asked, so.
So, Counselor is saying as a safeguard, she wants it to go to full board.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, that would be our opinion. It should go to the full board.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
all right. Have a good one.
Mr.
May I
Wheeler?
ask? Okay, go ahead.
Steve, question, is a legitimate workaround, let's say they want to get the freezer now, can we cut a check directly on getting the freezer and wait for everything else? Or, because the dollar amount's not changing, just
The
the
original
way.
language said reimbursement, so unless they walk in with a receipt, you know, until it's changed by the full board, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, if they can purchase that and walk in, and we could do it, but other than that, we'll have to wait.
okay.
Thank you, Steve.
My question is, how
Oh,
long
Miss
would it be?
Miss Polk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good.
Okay, I just want to know how long, because they feed people almost every day. How long will they have to wait after the July board meeting? Will they have to wait before they can get the check? So they can get the freezer, the equipment for the food pantry?
We'll have it ready to print right after the board votes on it to process. So we'll print it the next day so that the date is after the board, but we'll have to at least wait for that date for the check to, you know, to have on the date, so.
Okay.
Which is what, the 13th?
Chairman Wheeler.
Steve, and that's because of the Department of Treasury is going to want to see authorization and then not a check before the authorization, correct?
Yeah, it keeps it clean
That's
for the
accounting,
audit,
auditing.
legal
thing.
auditing, yeah.
Right,
It is much
okay.
cleaner.
Yeah, I understand that too.
We would if we could, but that will get picked up in an audit.
All right.
Okay.
Good discussion. Thank you, Steve. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda to have the treasurer go last, right before adjournment? Motion.
I was about to compliment.
Can I have a motion to combine and approve the reports for the treasurer's office? Motion by Mr. Swanson, second by Mr. Featherling. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Africano.
Dr. Polk, I'll just respond to what you said earlier. I'll work with Steve and we'll get that check out. I think we can probably even get it out the same day as the full board meeting. If it gets approved,
Okay.
we'll get it.
Thank you.
Today is not a busy day. It's the last day of taxes. We are nearing half collection. You know, there's bank, obviously, and this is something that you might want to, and we try to tell people this because there's some confusion. So in the old days, the treasurer would go around to all the banks every day and pick up all the slips. And what we do now is we, at the beginning of tax season, send out prepaid envelopes for weekly slip collection. So the banks simply put all the slips in, send them to us in the mail, and then we process them here. So everything that goes to a bank is a little bit slower. So people sometimes will say, well, I paid a week ago, and it took 8 days to post. Well, that's just because you may have paid on the Monday, and by the time we got it, it was the next Monday. So it lags a little, but we're right on target for collection. It seems different. It seems that we're getting less and less people coming into the facility, which is perfect. That's what we would like. And I think we like it mostly for the customers because it's easier to go to a drive-through bank, online, Dropbox. There are a million ways to do it now. Gosh, what am I missing? I just hats off to my staff, who does an incredible job. Yes, I apologize. We are having pizza today for my staff because they don't get to leave for lunch today. So that will be a rejected claim. I'm sure you'll see next month. I'll let you know about it now. And I just wanted to say, I know we get complacent sometimes because we hear it over and over and over, or we are hearing it now. When I started in 2016, Steve was maybe the most miserable human being I'd ever met. And Steve, I'm so excited to work with you and proud to work with you and all the hard work you've done over the last 7 years. I'd like to think your hair was turning darker, but I don't think it goes that way, unfortunately. So we can't get back what you lost. But I just personally want to say Steve is a dream to work with. He doesn't call for early distributions anymore, but I would certainly help him if he did. And it really is a different ballgame today. And it's a credit to everyone. But I work with Steve on a daily basis, and I know how hard he's worked to get through these difficult times. And I came in, like I said, in 16, but it wasn't good in 16. So thank you, Steve. I think that's all I have, unless anybody, Chairman?
On the spot. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And
That's
it may
happened
wait
before.
until next time, but it's the conversation with the trustee regarding the Tyler Supreme Court case. Just maybe tell them what's upcoming.
Yeah, that's thank you. So I think I mentioned here before that there was a U.S. Supreme Court case that looked like it was going to go against Illinois. It was a Supreme Court case out of Minneapolis, Hennepin County, but their property tax laws were similar to ours, one of 18 or 20 states, whereby if the municipality or the county takes your tax, takes your property, we then sell it to pay your back tax. But in the past, if there was a difference between what you owed and what the property sold for, that went to the county or to the municipality. Supreme Court has said that's a violation of the takings clause, and they did rule the way we heard they would rule. So that challenges everything that's been being done in Illinois, which means in our county. Doesn't happen very often in Kankakee County, but it does have implications specifically for the Kankakee County Land Bank. Because, and there are lots of, I could go into a lot of different ideas. Obviously, from a personal standpoint, if you owe the county $5,000 and we sell your property for $30,000, I don't feel right about us keeping $25,000, but there has to be a better balance, because then we just simply are the people that hold onto your property, sell it, and give you the profit. And we're not, because you don't pay your taxes, you only owe $5, we sell it for $25, and we have to hand you $20. There you go, you didn't have to do anything. Well, we're not real estate agents. Right, so there's a lot of things that need to be worked out. I've spoken with our trustee. Of course, they're well aware of it, and they're working on, maybe there'll be something in veto session. I think they have to address this right away. I know, Chairman, you had a question?
I'll reserve it until there's an answer. It's just a big deal. If you think about it, what's a real estate agent make on commission? Was it 5%?
Yeah, something like that.
It's broken up, so it's usually about 2.5 to 3.
We'd be competing with realtors. right?
Right,
And
yeah.
so the government would have a competitive advantage over the private sector on a particular property. There's got to be something that happens here. You know, you can't turn us into real estate agents.
No, I think the balance that we're trying to walk, at least in our county, and of course, these rules are going to be promulgated without our input, as we know. So we're going to follow rules that we have no input in. So we pray that they're going to be good. We have no interest. I certainly endeavor all the time to make sure people don't get taxed out of their homes, right? We don't sell the property. We don't want to sell the property. By the same token, if we end up going down that road because, you know, you're a habitual offender, we also don't want to become your real estate agent. And we have some scofflaws in this county, which, you know, unfortunately, they cost us the most work and owe us the most money. So we don't want to become their property, their real estate agents. I mean, quasi real estate agents. And the last thing I'll say, and you made me think of this, I received a letter in the mail, maybe at the beginning of this week, end of last week, from a tax buyer, large tax buyer, who is not happy that we have gone to a sealed bid auction. And that, for those of you who don't know, we two auctions. We have a surplus auction, which is property that the trustee now owns, and then we sell it off. But the regular tax lien auction, which we do in here in November, we used to do in here, where people would bid on computers. We don't do that any longer. You simply bring a thumb drive, your properties, goes into a computer, and the sale takes place in about 4 or 5 minutes. It's all computerized. Well, some of the tax buying agencies aren't happy because they're not getting as much property, or in a way they think, their percentage isn't what they think it should be. My inclination was that it's better for us, better for our tax buyer. And so, but I reached out to the tax buyer to ask, statistically, have we seen any difference? And there's absolutely no difference. We're not losing any money. We're not gaining any money, but there is no statistical evidence that the second way we're doing things is less good for the taxpayers than what we were doing. And it's certainly more streamlined from a government standpoint. So,
and it's much faster for your office as well.
Oh, it, you know, so tax buying, it takes.
It used to be very hard on your office.
Used to be, well, and I don't care about that. It used to take about 6 hours. Now it takes 30 minutes.
Exactly.
It's just better. It's a better use of the county's money, in my mind.
100%.
Any questions? Just tell people. You know, the Dropbox is open for those people that might not make it in the by the due date. Put them in the Dropbox. You know, if it's in there, and if you put it in past business hours, we still take it in the morning. We get it and process it. So do that. Midnight is the postmark deadline for people. Anything else anybody needs to ask me about taxes, when they're due dates, anything?
Mr. Hunter.
No.
Oh.
I will.
Okay.
I will say that.
Share with you after the meeting.
Okay.
I will say that after the tax season, the second installment, we are going to go out to churches specifically, and really try to tout our Choices program to get people to pay partial payments, because we think it's trending in the right direction. But maybe we've translated everything into Spanish now. So we think that there's a use for it out there. Maybe people don't know, so we're going to really try to push that.
Have you seen an increase in the use of credit cards for their taxes online? No. Okay.
And credit cards 2.25%, and of course that's a lot of money on taxes. But that's money that by state law has to be collected, and we can't pay for it. It has to be paid to the processor. So none of that goes to us, contrary to what some people might think.
Anything else from the committee?
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Other business, old business, new business, jury duty pay, or Mr. Featherling.
No, I'm sorry. I had something to leave.
Oh, adjournment? No, we have one more piece of item. Kankakee County jury duty pay. You want me to go ahead and head it up? So I received a phone call about a month ago from one of my constituents. If you watched Criminal Justice, one of my constituents received a check for $7.50. Andy, myself, and Anita and Sandy Cianci went ahead, and inside your packet you'll go ahead and have the breakdown of what each county goes ahead and pays per day and their mileage, and we are the lowest one in the state of Illinois, and we pay $5 a day and 10 cents a mile. So with discussion with Chairman Wheeler and Chief Judge Cunnington, I think we're coming here for a resolution of what the pay should go ahead and be. So I'll go ahead and let Mr. Chairman Wheeler go ahead and discuss on that.
You know, I apologize. I left the packet up on my desk, but we went back and forth with the chief judge, and you know, because it is a mixed bag. Some counties do 10 cents a mile with a higher daily rate, and then a higher one if you get chosen to be on a jury. It's like $5 difference. So while we are lower, and that is known, the way people do it varies greatly. So don't feel limited in you have to do X, Y, and Z. But you need to do something, I think. I don't think that $5 a day is, you're not there for your to build the house at the Hamptons, obviously. But at least you shouldn't be insulted with $5 a day. You know, that's not necessarily, public services isn't supposed to pay like that, but so we really have a choice. Do you want to go with IRS rate for mileage? Don't say what the number is, peg it to the IRS rate. You could say it's going to be 15 cents a mile and go higher on the daily rate, or you could go lower on the daily rate and go with the higher, you know, mileage. It's you also have to understand that there's a cost to everything. So if you go from 10 cents a mile, what do we do now? I forget.
We're at 10 cents a mile
10
currently.
cents a mile, and you go to what, 60?
65 and a half.
65, you see what that's going to do to that mileage number. It's going to blow it up. So you can't also raise the daily rate to a $20 a day or $25 a day level.
I think we talked about $10 a day, and then
in the email thread that we had going, it was $10, and if you get chosen, move it to 15.
Yep.
But then also do the mileage, the IRS rate. Then we don't have to amend this if the IRS changes their number.
So, for example, like out in my area in Grant Park and Wilmont, somebody went ahead and received a check for $7.50. So if we did $10 a day with IRS mileage, 20 miles would be $36.20.
Right.
So it's actually worth it. And plus you're not losing money by going to jury duty because they go ahead and drive there. They're already losing money because the price of gas is so high, and then they go ahead and have lunch. They're in the hole. And a lot of these people are on fixed incomes, and they're older. So that's why it got brought to my attention. I think it's I believe the $10 a day, $15 after that, the subsequent day, and then the IRS mileage is worth it. But discussion from anybody at the committee. Ms. Weber.
Thank you. I wonder, I could make that motion and discuss it after you get the motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Weber, second by Mr. Swanson. Any other discussion? Chairman Wheeler?
I wish it could be $100 a day. That's all I'm saying. I hope people realize we're basically giving them their own money back as taxpayers. So please look at it like that. If it seems skimpy, $5 was skimpy.
Very.
And I can't find why that was done. It was done in late 2016. I don't know why. You have to forgive me. I know there was a state law that changed, and we had to rescind what the old fees were.
$25 a day, then
Yeah.
$50 the subsequent day, I believe it was.
I think that was from the state.
Yep.
And it was a huge cost increase for us. Now, I also say at that time, we were still facing layoffs, and when this was coming around, and, you know, not potentially having enough state's attorneys or sheriff's patrol or any of the other departments, we were still in a bad way back then. That might have been the thought process. It's hard to say.
Mr. McCarty.
I received a few emails a few weeks ago talking about potential, somebody's going to calculate the cost over at the courthouse. Has that been done, so we know what the budget impact will be along with these changes? Is that, do we know that yet?
There was, at one point in the email, there was a discussion on that. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Seen that. I don't know if I got taken out of the trail on that or not, if that was done.
It was run, you know, like pencil on napkin, sitting around doing the numbers. So if we can get to that. But the other side of it, do you want to do that right now, or do you want to do it with the new budget year?
New budget year, I would say.
I think that's a good point,
Okay,
because we won't have to
Yeah.
amend the budget this
Yeah,
year.
no.
When we start on, the new
12/1.
budget on 12/1.
Okay, I thought you guys were moving
No.
to go into place like
Yeah.
ASAP.
Well, we would have been if you wouldn't have brought that up. Thank you.
Yeah, so can I have amending the motion to the
Okay.
next fiscal year? The first and the second, or is it good with that? Okay. Good catch, Steve. Thank you. But I think it's what needs to be done. So, any other discussion from the committee? If not, would this be a voice? Because it would be next year's budget.
We're not spending money, it can be voice.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I just want to say thank you to Andy, Anita, Sandy Cianci, and Chief Judge for helping with this and compiling all the numbers. It was greatly appreciated. Not.
Time's up, adjourn.
Yeah, right. All right. Can I have a motion for adjournment? Mr. Featherling, second by Mr. Fairfield. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.